Please don't wake me from this.
What's going on, legends? LGG Alden here. Today I'm back with episode 3 of our Game Maker Studios top-down game tutorials. Apologize for last week, guys, and not getting an episode up. I had a lot of stuff going on and I didn't really get the time to finish an episode. So this time we're going to continue on after last time. Last time we worked on collision and things like that. This time we're going to be working on enemies and making a movement path system for them. Another reminder, guys, this series goes up every single Tuesday. From now on, I'm not going to try to miss any more days, but every single Tuesday, guys, a new episode comes out. So if you're looking forward, if you want to continue with this series, make sure to subscribe. Also, guys, one last thing about this. If you notice when I go into the script, you'll see that there is no WS movement anymore. I got rid of that for now. Now, I did figure out how to do collision for it, but it was really, really complex, and there probably was a smarter way, but I just decided we're not going to deal with that. For now, we'll just stick with WASD. Maybe eventually we can add some sort of a WS movement. I'm not too sure. If you guys want, like, personal help, or you guys just want the code if you want to use that system instead, comment below and I can give you what I have and kind of help you in the direction, but it is really complex, so we're going to stick with WASD. Okay, so let's get right into it, guys. So today we're building the enemies and making a system movement which is based off of paths. Paths are just preset movements and kind of how it works. This one's almost like an updating path in a way. So what it's going to do is you're going to be almost identical to creating a player. So you could pretty much just duplicate the player if you want to. Make sure to give it the prefix of SPR and name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name mine enemy. Edit the sprite to make it whatever you want. I'm going to make sure they still have the arrow so we know which way it's pointing, and I'll just make it red. Now, you can give it as detailed of a sprite as you want, whatever size you want, anything like that. Just make sure that it's different than the player so you know what you're looking at and you know what's coming at you. And of course, the next step is you're going to create an object for it. So you can create a whole separate object for it. You don't need to copy the players, OBJ, and then whatever you named your sprite. So mine being enemy. Make sure to set the sprite, and then depth, solid, none of that really should matter at all. Create event, so add a create event. In there, of course, drag a code segment. Now with that, you're going to want to set up basically the variables. Now these ones are not going to be global. Now I believe we made the players ones global. These ones don't need to be global because there's going to be multiple enemies. So you don't want one enemy's health affecting another. So if one was to die, all of them would die. The way you're going to do this is you're going to need to create a couple different things. For now, we'll just do health, so HLTH, and set it to whatever. I'll make this one, how about just simple, number 5, and also do SPD. Oh, there we go. SPD, and then, let's see, what do we actually set the players so that we know that we're not setting it too high? So the player's speed is 5. Okay, so we'll make this one, how about just 3? So it'll be slower than the player so that it can't, like, you know, always be following you and you can get away from it easily. With that, you're good. You're done with the create event. We don't need everything. We're not even technically working on health for them yet. For now, we're just creating the basic movement for it. Next, you're going to want to create a step event. So in the step event, make sure it's a normal step event, not begin or end. You open up another code segment. In there, all you're going to do is you're going to run a script. Now, we're going to use a script system pretty much the same way how we did for the movement for the player. You can name this SCR, and then we'll do, based on, let's see, the other name that we had was movement. So this one we'll do enemy, and then we'll say movement, and then let's do towards player. So I know it's a little bit of a complex name. You could name it whatever you want. And then let's simplify this. Enemy, and then move towards player. So we could set up different forms of movement. We could have one where this one, it'll be going right up to the player. Where we can have ones where maybe they stay distanced, but they shoot at you. You could set up different movements so that it's depending on the type of movement based on the type of enemy you want. So you can copy paste this so that you don't have to rename it. So create a script, name it what you pretty much just did there. And in there, this is where you're going to set up everything for the movement, where it looks, how it does. So you need to set the image angle so that it's looking towards the player so you can tell it's facing and going after the player. So to do that, you're going to do image angle. And then you're going to want to set that into a point direction. So when it points the direction, you want it to point at X. So its X and Y are pointing at the, this is where you need to call to the player. So player.x and your player's Y. So then you're good. You can close that one, and that'll make it just so that the angle, so if you see on the sprite there's a little arrowhead, it will point directly at the player. Now, the next part where this gets a little more complex, but it's not too hard to understand, it's the movement, how it works, because it goes off of a path. Now, the reason we're using a path system is because you can have it so that it notices walls, but at the same time, it will avoid them. It will come up with the quickest path, whether that be going around something, whether it, like, say there was 2 ways it could go and the player's on the other side. It would find which way is faster and take that way. So you need to create a path. So you're going to do path, just name, this will be the name of the path, equals, and then do path.add. You don't need to put anything in the parentheses. Oh, there we go. Like that. That should work fine. So I was drawing a complete blank, guys, and I just figured out why this didn't work. It's because we never added something to actually create our path grid system. So you need to create an object. So ignore that for now. We don't need to focus on that. We need to create an object. So you can name it obj and I guess grid, because it is technically as if it's using sort of like a grid. So you don't need to worry about sprites, depths, anything. Nothing matters. Now, in a create event, so make sure to use a create event. Drag a code segment. In there, you're going to want to create 2, or actually you'll create 4 variables. You'll do cell width. Oh, I spelled that. There we go. Cell width. And then you're going to want to make it 32 because that's technically like the size of our tiles or whatever if you look at it. And it's just a good size to use for all that. And you're going to do the same thing for cell height. So height equals, or cell height, I said that weird. Okay, so cell height equals 32 also. And then you're going to want to do variable, and you're going to make h cells. And h cells is going to be equal to room underscore width. So this is all based on the width. And it's going to be divided by cell width. So the point of this, and then basically just create the same thing except cell height. So it'd be, you'd do v cells because it's vertical. So create that, and then room underscore height divided by cell underscore height. So the point of doing this, to explain a little bit, is we want to get the amount of cells that there are. So cells are just, 32 by 32 because that's what the width and height are. So it's taking the width and the height of the actual room. So no matter what size, whether it was really huge, whether it's like tiny, it takes it and finds out how many cells there are and creates a entire grid based off of that. So that's why you need to take the room width and the room height and divide it by 32, which you could do the same thing and just enter 32 here, but setting it up like this, you could change it. So if you wanted to do 16 by 32, you could just change 1 to 16. So if we ever want to change it, it's not hard. Now, it's the same thing, you just type in a number, but I guess it's just, setting it up like that makes it better. So now you need to create the actual grid object. Now this needs to be a global object. So global.grid equals, and then you're going to do mp underscore grid and then create. So you'll see it right here. It needs, that's why you need to get these amount of cells, and that's why we kind of named it like that. So here we go. So also, well, and plus you actually do use a cell width and height also. Again, you use it in this, which you could just enter a number again, but like I said, makes it simpler. So you need to enter everything. We're going to do 0, 0, and then you're going to do h cells, v cells. Oh, that was supposed to be a comma. H cells, v cells, and then you're going to do width, or cells.width, cell underscore width. There we go, and cell underscore height. So that's everything you need in that. That should work fine. Make sure we have no errors. Okay, we're good. And then you need to do mp underscore grid. I can't spell today. Grid, and then add. So this will add the grid, and then also instances. So you'll see it's the second one right there. So the ID is obviously global.grid, because that's the one we just created. And then you also need the object. So the object of the walls. Now, this is where having a parent object for the walls comes important here, because you need to have some sort of an object that acts as the overall solid object. So ours is going to be wall. So like I said, how you can make multiple walls, all you had to do was just change it so that it was a parent, so that the wall was the parent object. Make sure you have a parent object. That's kind of the important thing, because you can't enter multiple types of walls here. You have to have one overall object, which all the little sub walls inherit to that. And then the last thing, just do false. So that should work fine. There we go, no errors. And then now we can actually go back to the script we were creating. Back to the script, guys. Now, what I kind of noticed was the problem here, which it's a good thing we added that grid object because it'll actually help overall. But one thing I noticed is I'm making a simple mistake. I did path.add. It's actually path_add. So make sure that you change that. That was actually the reason we got that issue, but we did need to create that grid object anyways, so we're good to carry on. Now, what you need to do is create 2 more variables within here. You can name them cx, and you'll also make a cy. So cx will equal, in parentheses, just to make sure you're doing the proper math here, you're going to want to do object player.x, and then divide that by 32. So this will pretty much, that's like our tile height. Also, times it by 32, and then add 16. And then do the exact same thing. You can practically copy paste it because the only things you're changing is the variable y, and change that to a y. So that'll work good. Now this is pretty much where you're checking the path, making sure everything's good, and then you're starting the path. So the way you're going to do this is you're going to want to do an if statement. You're going to do mp_grid, and then you're going to say path. So you'll see, oh wait, whoops. So you'll see it comes up with something right here. Now what you need is you need your ID, so global.grid, the one we just created. So you would get an error if we didn't do that other part yet. And then you're going to want to do path, which is the path that we added up there. X, so X and Y of the enemy. And then you're going to do the CX and CY variables we just made. And then 1. So make sure to close both of those. And then within some brackets, all you're going to do is you're going to do path start. And this is where you can do the path. So the path object, we just created that. And then you're going to do SPD, or whatever you named your speed variable. Now this isn't global, so it can change based on the player, or based on the enemy. And you'll see that's the speed. And then you're going to do path_action, and then stop. And then also false. So that's all you need in there. That should work fine. As long as you have no errors, you're on the right track. Now you're going to want to make sure you have your room open. So within there, go into objects and place the new grid object. Make sure you have that. Whoops, I do not have the right object selected. Make sure you have that. Doesn't matter where you put it. I'm just going to put it outside so that it doesn't interfere with the map. But make sure that you have your grid object placed, or else it will cause a bunch of errors and it won't run. So you're good, and you can also place your enemies. So you can place as many as you want. I'm just going to place maybe 4 right here. They'll come from all directions, so we know that it works no matter what. And then you're just going to want to run it. So here we go. Let it load up, and we're going to make sure that this works good. As you can see, there it goes. They come after you. They point the directions. Now, as you can see, there's a wall. They completely avoid it. So if I'm over here, they're going to decide the fastest path to take. So say I'm over here, but then, oh, they come this way because that was the faster way. So that's the point of using a path system, so that you can have it based on the walls. See, they don't run into the walls, which is good. They avoid the walls. And I mean, yeah, they get a little close to it sometimes, and they're like right onto the wall, which isn't bad. As long as they go around it, we still collide into walls, and they go pretty much nearly around it, which is good. And no matter where you put the walls, so whether they were trapped around, they had to go around an entire thing, they would find the smartest system and take that path no matter what. And they're constantly updating, so depending on where you are, that's where they go. So that's the whole advantage to doing this. Really good system, works really amazing, and I love this kind of system when it comes to enemy movement because it's probably one of the smartest ways to go about it. So that's good. That's what we needed to accomplish this episode. So that's it, guys. Hopefully you got everything working good for you guys. You don't have any errors. If you guys do, comment them below. I'll do my best to help you troubleshoot, give you any code, alter anything, whatever you need. Comment it below. I'll do my best to reply to everybody and help you all out. So thank you guys so much for watching. Another reminder, though, this series does go up every Tuesday, so I will see you guys again with another episode next Tuesday. If you guys did enjoy this and it helped you out, leave a like. If you're brand new to the channel and you enjoy this tutorial series, make sure to subscribe so you get notified as soon as the next episode comes out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to be a legend, and I'll see you guys next time.